gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for August 12th, 2022. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, your mother's wrong, kid. Being afraid of the dark is what keeps most of us alive. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Tamoor Hussain from Giant Bomb. Tam, how are you doing?
Everyone. Hello. I'm excited to be here, ready to Friday it up with you, one Jeff Grubb.
Yes, that's right. I'm ready to hang. Tam, so far, these early shows for you folks on the West Coast, you all have been good sports, getting up. Is it too early? Just be honest with me. Is this too early?
No, I don't think it's too early. I think it's, for me as someone who's a bit of an insomniac, it's fine. Like I'm always tired, so I get up and I'm just like a normal day for me.
Yeah.
I imagine if you ask someone like Lucy or Jan, they might. Well, Jan's up early all the time.
Yeah, Jan's an early boy.
Yeah, but it's mostly fine. It's mostly fine. I mean, you can tell from my face and my voice that I've just woken up.
Yeah, but that's
that's how it's gonna be. I got
it's
my
suggestive. You got that low voice going on. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I'm here. But I'm ready. Like I always, when I need to do something in the morning, I can always like just be like ready, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're on. You're ready to go. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think you're right. Like Lucy always gets right into it too. She obviously as a pro in what turns out. I think Jan, you're right. Just a machine, just ready to go first thing in the morning, no matter what. So
Lucy is a pro. She can definitely turn that on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're right. Jan, sometimes I wonder if he ever sleeps.
Me too. That was the suggestion I'm going for. Cyborg.
Yeah, cyborg.
Absolutely. All right. Before we get into the mess, let's explain ourselves here. Each weekday, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news, so the catch-up, where we discuss the biggest topics consuming the lives of gamers everywhere, and maybe even bring some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. Hello, Twitch. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. We love you very much. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with a remake of the 1992 game Alone in the Dark has appeared online and will reportedly be announced later today. This comes from a Belgian retailer, Smart Toys, which posted a listing for the game, which appears to be published by THQ Nordic, along with box art and some screenshots. Now, of course, later today, THQ Nordic is holding an event, so this is all kind of lining up. At 3 p.m. Eastern today, you can watch the THQ Nordic showcase. This will likely be there. According to the product description on the Smart Toys page, the theme for the new Alone in the Dark will be psychological horror meets Southern Gothic. I guess, is this going to be a new game or is this a remake? I'm actually having trouble nailing that down here based on what the Smart Toys thing is, but a couple hours we'll know for sure. The listing also says this is a love letter to the cult 90s game that will take you through a story that's as sinister as it is memorable through the eyes of one of the two protagonists. Playing as Edward Carnaby or Emily Hartwood, explore the various environments, fight monsters, solve puzzles, and discover the terrible truth about the mansion Decerto. Tam, do you have any love for Alone in the Dark?
This is truly the remake that no one asked for. However, it's one that I can definitely get behind.
Yeah,
I remember playing older Alone in the Dark games and thinking, these are decent. Like, they weren't amazing, but they were well made, cool kind of like games back then. I think this is really good news not because I'm super excited about Alone in the Dark as a property, although it was one of the first ever things that I did in terms of like writing online for video games websites. It was going to a press event for the Alone in the Dark game that came out. It was terrible. I think
that was on 360, right?
Yeah. It was the thing that's exciting about it. Is the genre it's actually in. I'm excited to see another horror / survival horror franchise try and exist, if you know what I mean. There's only really one in a major way, which is Resident Evil. I know people would say like, there's loads of smaller horror titles. Yeah, that's 100% true. They're all like doing something cool usually. But what I'm talking about is like a major blockbuster kind of franchise in a horror, survival horror, thriller kind of genre existing. Other than Resident Evil, Silent Hill's gone, I guess. I don't know. I can't even think of another major franchise that would be similar, like Siren, I guess. But
Yeah.
there's nothing really out there. So I'm happy to see this kind of happening. And like you said, THQ Nordic does have a stream today. They own that IP. I think it's a very savvy move as well. Because like there's not a lot of competition, and this is one of the franchises that wasn't overexposed, so people still have just a little bit, just enough of that nostalgia for it, that when it comes back, they're more likely to be kind of not optimistic but less cynical than most people would around something like this if it were another franchise.
Yeah, I mean, this is a genre that people love, and they also like just love engaging with it when other people are playing it. It'd be great for content creators and stuff like that. Like streamers are going to want to play this if it's at all like fun to play as a survival horror game. So it's like it makes a lot of sense. I just like I keep wondering like where THQ Nordic and Embracer Games is as a whole in terms of like approaching their remakes and bringing back old stuff, and is this going to be a big budget thing, or is it sort of just going to be them like piecing together some stuff using relatively limited resources? I suppose we're going to find out here pretty soon, but this is in line with what they've done so far, and that is have a lot of IP and keep bringing back those IPs in so that they are relevant again, and then maybe they'll do something more with it in the future.
Yeah, Jeff, just a second there, you said you were like, you kind of liked what they were doing with that, bringing back IP and making it fresh again. Are you sure about that? Because they have an IP. Okay, Jeff Grubb.
What do they have?
That they should have brought back long before whatever the hell this bollocks is.
Okay, what's that? Yeah.
Many. I have directly contacted them on Twitter and told them to do it. And I've told them, remake Soul Reaver, you cowards.
Yeah.
I have done it repeatedly, and instead of remaking Soul Reaver, they just out here making Alone in the fucking Dark
and Time Splitters and SpongeBob.
God damn.
And I think they specifically said, fuck you, Tamoor Hussain, is what they're saying.
It's upsetting. Listen, Embracer, if you're watching, remake Soul Reaver. It's free money. If you need someone to do it, pay From Software. Just do it, okay? Christ.
It's I keep like thinking like that one, the way that they approach all their IPs, that one has to be coming, but the fact that they haven't announced anything yet, like because they were like immediately we're doing Time Splitters, a new Time Splitters, like that's happening, and we're bringing back all the old Time Splitters games, and now we're here with this. Who knows? Maybe they announced it today, Tam. Are you going to watch with like your fingers crossed and hoping?
I'm going to watch.
And if nothing happens,
I'm going to watch. And if there's no Soul Reaver, I will riot in my apartment. I don't hurt other people. I don't. Yeah,
you just break your own stuff, of course.
I just break my own stuff. Yeah, I don't want to hurt any small businesses.
I tried playing. I didn't play it when it originally came out. I tried playing Soul Reaver last year on a Dreamcast emulator, and it doesn't quite hold up for me. So
the game or like the experience as a whole.
The game, like playing the game, like was just not.
Playing the game is rough. That's why it deserves a remake. But
I
did you watch that intro? Tell me about that intro, Jeff Grubb.
All the stuff that they are laying down in terms of the world and these characters and their take on vampires. I'm like, I am into all of that stuff.
Incredible.
For sure.
Kane is deified. Okay?
Yes. I hope you get what you want. It seems like if they keep going on this path, they're going to have to like eventually remember they own that, and it'll happen. So. I'm pulling for you. Okay, let's catch up on the story from last week. I think we talked about this. Turns out Nintendo didn't actually say there wouldn't be new hardware this fiscal year. So that was just speculation from a Nikkei article. And now that we have the full interview, which has been transcribed and translated into English, it's clear that the Nikkei was just speculating based on a line. They were inferring from what Furukawa said. This originally got pointed out by Vuk64 on Twitter, who said Nintendo did say Nintendo will continue to sell 3 Switch models this fiscal year. That's all Furukawa said. He didn't say that there wouldn't be another one or they would only have 3 Switch models this year. They just said they would continue to sell 3 Switch models, and then Nikkei like extrapolated from that. When this story was first happening, like it was like, oh, no one's sure if the Nikkei was speculating or if this came directly from Nintendo. And we talked about it at the time, and I knew deep down, I'm like, this sounds like, it just sounds like a weird time for Furukawa to come out and just say that flatly. This is probably more nuanced than what all these stories are making it out to be. And turns out, yeah, that's, it's not even more nuanced. It's just kind of like made up. It's not even like anything real that he said. Furukawa did say, when talking about procuring components and keeping up with microprocessor shortages, he said, with cooperation from various business partners, we're on track for improvement from the latter half of this summer. But in terms of our sales forecast of 21 million units for the fiscal year through March 2023, we only have a clear production outlook for this year. Beyond that, things are uncertain. I can't say specifically what is in short supply. Nintendo will continue to sell 3 Switch models: the standard model, the Switch Lite, and with reduced price, size, and features, and the OLED model. And I don't think he's saying they're going to reduce the price of the Switch Lite, just that is less costly than these other ones. We'll work out the best strategy as we go along. We're doing our best to procure high quality products at an appropriate price with an eye towards the next few years. Now, the line here that I want to highlight: we'll work out the best strategy as we go along. I think that's really true here, that Nintendo does not have some Bible that they are working from that defines what exactly they're going to do with a Switch follow-up of any kind. They have options, and they are going to come up with the best option as they go along. Does it seem like that way to you?
Yeah, that is, from everything I've heard and know about the way they approach this stuff. It is like any number of paths are available to them. They like to, like, in advance plot out possible kind of trends and ideas that kind of buck trends and also conform to trends, because their whole mantra back in that Wii days was they looked at what their competitors were doing and decidedly did something. That was a measured and kind of like strategic decision that they made, and they continue to do that. One of the things that they relish in is like taking, reaching a point, looking at where things are going and trying to just go off the path slightly, because that gives them a unique kind of twist. And they have so many of those pre-planned already that it's just simply a matter of like, I wonder, I feel like now more than ever, they have an interesting decision to make, because there's so many different forms and mediums and kind of platforms in which you can play games that it's much harder to make a good call on this stuff. It was very easy to, back when the Switch came out, or the Switch first came out, it was very easy to go look at the landscape and go, a portable, modestly powerful console that can also be used as a portable device. That's the thing that's smart and like, but now you look around and it's like, there's a lot of those things now, man.
Yeah.
Like what's the next thing that's a kind of a gimmick but not a complete gimmick, and like I bet you they'd leave it till very late to make that call.
Yeah, and it's and when he says like our best strategy as we go along, that strategy is determined by so many factors. Especially now that it's a successful console, with the Wii U being a dud. They sort of like had to move, and they had to make decisions, and they did. As they needed to. Here it's like, well, we could keep the Switch going and keep making more money, squeezing more money from this thing that has done very well from us, and that makes sense that we could squeeze more profit from the Switch than we can from a Switch 2 or even a Switch Pro. But piracy is a concern. Like, piracy seems like it's building up more and more, and that's something that Nintendo often tries to offset by releasing new hardware that is harder to crack, and will it buys them time on the clock against piracy. And it's like, well, maybe they want to push against that. Maybe they want to try to figure out a new way to keep this momentum going by releasing new hardware. And obviously they've been like, the reporting has been, they've been testing stuff. They've been putting out dev kits for a long time now. Those have been like, they didn't actually end up doing anything with that the first time around, but that was probably because the reality on the ground changed and they didn't feel the need to move. And maybe that's going to shift, and now everything's in place and they could just launch something next year. We'll see. But clearly I would not say there's no way anything's coming out before the end of fiscal year 2022, which is March of next year. But Tam, do you think? Because I'm not sure if I even think anything's still going to happen this year.
No, I don't think that it just doesn't make sense for this year. Like even if you consider like availability of like components and that kind of stuff, so much of the world economy and the world kind of like commercial infrastructure is not in a good spot that launching a brand new console hardware worldwide, it feels like just a pain in the ass, like shipping and that kind of stuff, storage, and also like retail hasn't completely bounced back yet. Like people have some dollars now, but or like whatever your local currency is, money to spend, but not like it used to be. And like I feel like it wouldn't be smart because you kind of need to retrain people in everyone's interests and everyone's kind of hobbies. They really changed over the last couple years, and now that things are going a little bit more back to normal, they're in that transitional phase where perhaps they're not as interested in sitting in place and playing video games, and you kind of need them to realize again that real life sucks and video games rule, and that's what they should spend all their time and money on. So I just feel like there's a bunch of different factors that prevent it. It's just the kind of like the economy and consumers as a mentality isn't as primed for a new console, even if their hardware situation might be.
Yeah, and it's a weird situation too because it's really hard to take these indicators as as the market's moving in any one direction. 500,000 jobs added in July. That seems like really good news. And then the consumer price index kind of still going up 8%, and all these like there's a lot of weird indicators out there, which makes it seem like I bet most companies are going to be like, oh, if things were going one direction for sure or the other, we can make plans for the future. Right now, this is just kind of paralyzing where we do not know what to do. And I bet Nintendo feels that just as much as anyone. And again, because they have such a success, it's like they already had all these options open. That sort of makes it be like, well, and now none of these options feel like the right thing to do. So and like also just this year we get Bayonetta, we get Pokemon, we get a handful of other things that don't feel like the kind of games that you launch a Switch revision alongside of. You probably wait for Zelda. You probably just wait for Zelda.
Yeah, it's true.
Jeff Keighley says to expect cool surprises and things you wouldn't expect at Gamescom. This comes from Jordan Midler at VGC. First, Tam, how do you expect things you wouldn't expect? It just seems like Jeff Keighley's trying to put me in a brain bind.
Yeah, he's just like, I need to keep them busy until the show is ready. So let's give him one of these conundrums.
Jeff Keighley has outlined what to expect from Opening Night Live 2022, including some cool surprises and things I think people wouldn't expect. The event will kick off on Wednesday, August 25th. He says more than 20 games will be on stage. It's going to be a big spectacle. We have some very cool guests that are coming to Germany to join us on stage as well to reveal their games and showcase new content. Keighley also revealed that certain games that weren't ready to be shown as part of Summer Game Fest will be shown at the German show, which is what I'm going to refer to this as a Gamescom as from now on. The German show.
German show.
We're going to have 2 hours of content to show you, including gameplay clips, trailers, and announcements. He says a lot of those things will be for 2023 and beyond because this year is pretty light. He continues to beat that drum, which he has done since Summer Game Fest, where he's like, listen, this year's lighter. A lot of stuff's getting pushed, but good stuff is coming. And it seems like that theme is going to be continued here where, Gamescom's late in the year. You don't necessarily expect the games to get announced here to be the ones that are coming out 2 months later. In most cases, maybe one or two gets shadow dropped or something like that. But where are you at with your expectations for Gamescom? And is there anything in particular that you're hoping to see?
My expectations are kind of like, well, the thing about Jeff is like he doesn't lie. Like I trust him when he says I've got some very unexpected things or some unexpected things. If Jeff usually delivers on what he says he's gonna have, and like obviously people's expectations make him run wild, but what do I expect? What things that weren't ready for Gamescom but might be now, not for ready for Game Awards but might be now. We could see more of Hollow Knight. Like that would be interesting. That was something we got like a little snippet of, but I imagine I know that Jeff has been talking to Team Cherry a lot and trying to get them involved in his stuff because he said as much in an interview we did. But and Team Cherry obviously was impacted by a lot of what is going on around the world. And I feel like they're close. They're getting in a much better position than they have been in a really long time, and they would want to start making some noise about that game. And this could be it. This could be a good time to do it. So we could end up seeing that. But yeah, I don't really try and figure out too
Yeah.
much because I get told so much that I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
leave a little bit of it for myself. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I would, like I said, I would love to see some Hollow Knight. Silk
Yeah.
Song.
I think that'd be cool. There are some things that I've heard will show up there. He's teased some things. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. But yeah, I'm expecting there's probably gonna be a couple of fun surprises. I'm expecting a lot of people to be like, oh, the game I was really hoping would be there was not there. That's still gonna happen. But Jeff Keighley is gonna be back with the Game Awards in a couple months later. Like, he's got another place for a lot of stuff to show up, and if he's talking to the companies and they're not ready, he'll be ready to catch them whenever they're ready to jump into his hands and say, hey, come to the Game Awards instead. So, which is where I expect to see stuff, like maybe if we don't get a big Nintendo Direct between now and the end of the year, I bet Zelda stuff shows up at the Game Awards, things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Emu and Lykeer Studio are delaying Metal Slug Tactics. This just comes from Emu on Twitter. I'm a little bummed about this, but not too surprised. They said Marco, Erie, Fio, and Tarma are tinkering away to make Metal Slug Tactics as explosive as possible on release, but the squad needs a bit more time in the shop to prepare for battles ahead. See you in 2023. Metal Slug Tactics obviously is the tile-based strategy game featuring Metal Slug characters. It looked great the first time they showed it off. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that would have been a good game to have sooner. But if they needed to spend the time, fair enough, go for it. Metal Slug. And it's a big change for Metal Slug as well, and
yes,
I'm excited.
And it's it just shows all up and down the stack, right? It's not just big games getting delayed. It's not just little game. Every type of game is just needing more time. It's just affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Let's see, veteran Resident Evil producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi has left Capcom for NetEase. Jordan Midler at VGC writes, Capcom veteran Hiroyuki Kobayashi has revealed on Twitter that he has left Capcom to join NetEase. The producer, who spent 27 years at Capcom, began his career as a programmer on the original Resident Evil game. He would go on to serve as a producer and planner on the Dino Crisis franchise. He said, after serving 27 years with gratitude, I have departed Capcom on March 31st, 2022, and will be officially joining NetEase Games as a producer, Kobayashi said. I will strive to continuously create more enjoyable entertainment experiences for everyone at this new company in this new era. He didn't say what his next project would be. He did say stay tuned for more updates soon. He is not the only major, Japanese producer to leave for NetEase recently. NetEase has acquired Grasshopper Manufacture, and then Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagoshi also joined the company, founding Nagoshi Studio as a wholly owned subsidiary of NetEase. NetEase, for people who are that name sounds familiar, what is it? It's the second biggest gaming company in China after Tencent. They are also always making moves, maybe not as frequently as Tencent, but pretty close to that. Obviously, they've spotted a strategy here where they want to get top Japanese creators on their team making stuff for them. What does this do for you? Does it bum you out? Does it, or are you hopeful about the games they might be making? Where are you at?
I'm kind of on the fence because I can't think of a NetEase game that has been memorable to me. And they've been snapping up talent and that kind of stuff for a really long time. But a NetEase produces a kind of game that seemingly I either just can't see on registering on my radar, or I just don't care for. So although I'm sure that they're trying to make some moves right now, I can't think of any reason to be excited about it. Good job to them for acquiring another developer that people kind of know about from a team that people love, but
right.
Until you put out a single good game for me to give a shit about, I don't really care what you're doing with people like that.
Yeah, I mean, if this is enabling longtime successful producers to sort of have a second wind and a bit of a windfall in terms of likely, their pay and their wages, good for them. I go get paid. At 27 years at a company, if you want to go like basically take on a new challenge that's going to pay you a lot more and sort of make you feel even more successful, you deserve it. That's fine. I just, I'm not, I am not looking forward to necessarily the games that they're going to probably put out, which are likely going to be mobile pay to win sort of stuff.
Yeah, and like, that's not to say they can't go there and make something amazing.
Absolutely not. They could.
Who knows? I would love that. But
Same.
it's just as we said, like based on previous evidence, how usually happens is a developer will go somewhere and go to NetEase or whatever and just start pumping out stuff that no one cares about.
Yeah.
But they on the same tack, they wouldn't acquire a studio like Grasshopper and then make them make mobile games.
Right.
So maybe they're trying to turn the ship around and change it, but change what they do or diversify what they do. But yeah, we'll see.
Dodecalypse in chat says, get your money as long as you don't work for a defense contractor. Speaking of which, Unity signs multi-million-dollar contract to help U.S. government with defense. This comes from Chris Kerr at GameDeveloper.com. The deal was announced less than a year after some workers questioned Unity's ethics for working on military projects. The story reads, Unity has signed a lucrative contract with enterprise technology firm Kashi that will see it become the preferred real-time 3D platform for future systems design and simulation programs across the U.S. government. For context, Kashi is a $6 billion company that works with the U.S. government on various defense initiatives. In 2022 alone, Kashi has secured multiple multi-million-dollar task orders to assist the U.S. Army in areas such as aerial intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Now, Tim, I have like a kind of a mixed reaction to this, mostly negative, but I will say that in the United States, we have a jobs program that's called the U.S. military, where if you want to get like a guaranteed money from the government, you don't go, oh, hey, we're making art. Can you give us some money to make art? They'll just say, get the fuck out of my office. We don't want to talk to you. Like other countries have those programs. Go to Canada, they have that. You go to UK, they fund live theater and make those tickets cheap for like everybody because the funding comes in part from the government.
Yeah.
Here, our funding goes to missiles and to defense contract, and that's pretty much it. And so, if you are a business and you're like trying to like make it work in the United States, you have like that. That's one of the options you have. Now that said, Unity has done this and has often not been fully transparent with their employees about what they're working on. They're like, hey, you are creating this awesome new technology. This is going to be great for game developers. And then under their breath, they say, and for making defense programs. They don't tell the people actually making the technology that that's what it's going toward. And to me, that's like, oh, that's where the line is actually being crossed. You need to tell the people who are working on this stuff and actually creating it for you what their efforts and what their labor is going toward. And then on top of that, if anyone has any issue with Unity taking government money for defense stuff, yeah, that's fine too, of course. Like, it's not a great business to be in, but it's a lucrative one. And apparently this deal very lucrative for Unity. Where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I think pretty much everything you said there hit nail on the head. Any technology, especially in this country, that makes its way here, it inevitably ends up being used for war in some regards. You know, for long as we can. I remember, U.S. military has been controlling stuff with Xbox 360 controllers and even like PS2 controllers I've seen like used and stuff in certain things. But like, it is no surprise that Unity has ended up just doing this. I don't know. I don't think Epic does this, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, "Actually, we do use Unreal Engine to do X, Y, Z, and monitor you, drone strike these poor kids in the middle of nowhere just to, But yeah, it is, and also you're 100% right. Unity is not transparent with a lot of this stuff, and clearly, as you've seen, will get the bag when it needs to. I mean, like it already got into hot water for its like military kind of like connection. And I mean, here's the thing: bitching and moaning about this stuff from our side means nothing in the face of a multi-million-dollar deal. That's like. But the thing that you can do is like just start, thinking about what you kind of spend your time and money, what tools you spend your time and money on, and if there's something else that you can maybe go and check out. It sucks because Unity was, for a lot of people, a really low barrier of entry point into the industry, and and it was kind of this like up and coming, kind of snappy little hungry alternative to a bunch of other big engines, and now it's become what it was trying to, you know, present an alternative to, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. People in chat bringing up the National Endowment for the Arts, and yes, that's like $1 billion per year spent on mostly movies and some other stuff, like museums, things like that. But it's $1 billion a year, which is, you know, the Pentagon sneezes that out before lunch every day. Not even honestly, it's a fraction of a fraction.
Yeah, compare that to the military-industrial complex kind of like figures, and you will be astounded how little it is.
And I mean, just to illustrate this point, Biden just signed a bipartisan deal of like $50 billion to begin manufacturing semiconductors here in the United States. And then there's another like $200 billion that's going to go towards government research. None of that, like, that got funded because someone said to everybody on both sides of the aisle, this is important for making missiles. This is important for making weapons. Our number one, basically, export as a country. Nothing else would have mattered until they said that. Then everyone got on board. That is what gets you funded. That's what I'm just trying to say is that, yeah, sure, there's some funding for art. It's just if you want a guaranteed payday, like, you go military, and that's the system we're under. And so it should be little surprise that Unity has found it has the symptoms of being within that system. That's all. Not that doesn't like mean that Unity should get away with this. Keep criticizing Unity. Like, I don't think that we're not at any risk of no longer criticizing Unity. Like, that's going to keep happening too. Sega claims again that Sonic Frontiers won't be delayed. This comes from Chris Scullion at VGC. Sega management has once again maintained, I'll say threatened, that there are no plans to delay Sonic Frontiers following mixed reception from fans and media. Following a Q1 briefing for the fiscal year, which ends March 2023, Sega Sammy Senior Executive Vice President Koichi Fukuzawa and Executive Vice President Makoto Takahashi answered questions on a number of topics. One question asked whether Sega was considering postponing the release of Sonic Frontiers to improve it, following feedbacks of players and press. And the English translation says, "We do not consider postponing the launch at this point. Within the communication with users, we intend to reflect the parts that can be reflected within the development timeline and to build empathy with users." Excuse me. They go on to say, the movie did well, and it's going to help this game sell better, and we want to release it as close to this movie that we just, put on home video as possible, which, yeah, that seems like where they're at. They want that synergy, and so there's probably no chance of them delaying it because they want to capitalize on that as much as possible. Sonic Frontiers is a weird one for me, Tam. It showed off really poorly at first. It's showed off a little bit better since. I'm still not sure if it looks like a great game, but I'm like, it's no longer going to be the absolute 100% complete stinker I thought it was going to be either.
Yeah, and like, I'm not shocked at all to hear that Sega will happily put out a shite Sonic game because they know it doesn't really need to hit. Like, the thing is, these Sonic games are basically, they're little booster jabs for the Sonic marketing and like and kind of the Sonic industrial complex,
right,
which is everything. But the games, I'm not kidding when I say this, the games are meaningless. Okay, they don't. Sega does not give a shit about that stuff. If you compare the amount of money their games earn compared to how much everything else around Sonic earns, comics, TV shows, toys, bath bombs, everything, clothing, whatever you think of, it's just it makes perfect sense. They just put these things out every now and then just to keep a new generation. There's just enough magic in that franchise, where like someone encountering it when they're young will kind of take a liking to it, and there's plenty of good non-game Sonic shit out there for them to spend their money on, and that's enough for Sega. They don't like, outside of Sonic Mania, there hasn't been a good Sonic game in ages, and I know that Sonic fans will get real upset about this, but here's the thing: shut up.
Well said. I literally couldn't say it better myself. Shut up. All right, let's get to the catch-up. Multiversus Season 1 begins August 15th. Morty is not coming on day one of the Season 1 anymore. Instead, he will come a week later on August 23rd. On day one, you will get the chance to buy a brand new Battle Pass, however, And that, like, oh, we're spreading out the release of Morty from the beginning of the season. That's kind of indicative of how they're treating this entire season. They say everything we are bringing to you in season 1 will not drop on the same day. New modes and content will be spread throughout the life of the season. We'll continue to share dates on all the fun things to come. So clearly they're trying to keep people engaged while also, I think, not sort of overwhelming the dev team, right? The dev team's probably like, oh, we got so many people playing. We got to make sure this game is not going to catch on fire.
Yeah, I think that's such a smart thing. Like, there's like a cynicism around this. Not a cynicism. There's been a mishandling of this genre in like a couple of last few games that have tried this. You can tell when a game is built to sell characters and sell DLC, and when it's like built for future success. And it definitely feels like the team behind Multiversus, as it currently stands, is going at a pace where they're making sure the foundational game is rock solid, and then layering stuff when it makes sense and when it feels good on top of it. I think this game, like, the development team, who is the development team in this? It's not internal, is it?
It's a WB studio.
Yeah,
it's not NetherRealm. That was first
named.
Yeah, I think
it's just Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Like,
yeah.
I would, like, they're clearly investing in the future of this game, and they've earned a lot
Rightfully
of, like,
so.
WB has earned a lot of goodwill with this game. Like, it's super fun, and it's really well made. It's quality, and like, I think they need to be. I'm glad to see that they are kind of keeping let's be careful, let's not screw this up, because we've got something good going on here.
And it's like one of the rare live service games that has launched and like not completely just been on fire in 7 different ways. It's like a pretty small and self-contained thing. It doesn't have to have like sprawling missions and endless content in that regard. So it seems like the things they needed to nail, they did nail, and now they could just slowly continue to hit those things like repeatedly on a pretty good cadence. Chat wants to know, how high of an IQ do you think you're going to need to play as Morty in this game?
I will not be making any Rick and Morty references. I will not be engaging in any Rick and Morty banter.
I forgot this was in your contract.
I would preferably like it if Rick and Morty never came anywhere near me ever again.
Right. Okay. The restraining order still stands, everybody.
It stands. I have been told by my lawyers to say that. I will not say anything further.
It has been 8 years since PT. All right, go off.
Let's fucking go. Where is the new PT? Okay, where is the old PT? What is wrong with you lot? Don't tell me that you can't get Sam Porter Bridges' face again, or like there's some music in there, or Guillermo del Toro doesn't want anything. Put PT back on the store. Konami, you absolute top 10 cowards.
Yep. Let's my PlayStation Network broke on me a couple years ago, and I was like, it won't let me log in, it won't let me do anything. I need to reset my PS4. Oh my god, oh no, I lost PT. That's how it went. It sucked. I just forgot for a second that if I ever do that, I was gonna lose PT, but I lost it. Yep. And it's like, okay, that's just gone forever to me now. Everyone's remaking this stuff everywhere.
There's like a million PTs out there, and the thing is, like, if they really, let me tell you, okay, if they release PT today, I would download it and never play it.
Yeah.
Okay. 100%. Also, in the same breath that I'm saying release PT again, you cowards, I am also confirming with 100% certainty I'm not playing it again, because
and if I was gonna play it again, I'd play it in the Forge mode in Halo. Be like, they remade PT in Forge? Weird. Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was a playable teaser, and it was like fantastic back in the day, but it was also extremely annoying as a video game, and obtuse. And the experience around PT, the kind of like lightning strike of PT, was what everyone thinks back to.
Everyone yelling Jareth. And they're trying to Jareth. Look at this wall and yell Jareth 15 times, and then the phone will ring. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. That's the stuff that people miss. And like, I want it more for like preservation's sake. And I know we've got probably enough of that to kind of do it. But the thing I want is just what PT could have been. Like the stuff that keeps coming out about it, whether true or not, like the weird shit, like Kojima wants your phone number because he's gonna phone your bitch ass and like tell you you're dying or whatever.
Like, I'll plug in a fax machine for this man.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
That's the thing that I want. And the thing about PT is like Resident Evil came out. Which one was the first person one? 7? Resident Evil 7, yes, 7 came out, and Resident Evil 7 is an absolute banger. Like, what a game. Incredible game. Like, there's plenty of PT-like games available now.
Right.
What we want is a horror game made by Hideo Kojima and his weird squishy brain.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
give us
what
that.
I want. Give us that, and I don't know. There's been
thank
rumors.
you to PT for giving us a bunch of first-person horror games that clearly inspired by it. PT likes is a genre unto itself now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they're playing Mortuary Assistant right after this, so there you go, everybody. That's a PT like as well. Capcom has opened its Tokyo Game Show 2022 website. This is just like a reminder that that's coming up on September 15th and 16th. On the 15th, they're going to have a pre-recorded stream with a bunch of news. And on the 16th, they're going to spend a lot of time talking about Street Fighter 6. If you go to the show in Tokyo, they'll have these playable games: Exo Primal, Mega Man Battle Network, Legacy Collection, Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak, and Street Fighter 6. I would like to go to Tokyo Game Show one day.
Bro, I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go this year.
Oh, man, you should make it happen. That would be fantastic.
That'd be fun.
And then iconic game dedeveloper Sunsoft is back from hiatus and ready to show off new games on August 18th. This is
wait. Scrolling back a bit.
Yeah, please.
They didn't say Resident Evil 4 anywhere there.
Yeah, and they won't be playable, but I mean, imagine that would be might be there in their showcase. So
yeah, I have a question for you, Jeff Grubb.
Yeah,
do you know if the version of, or you might, I'm not saying someone told you this from inside, but you might have just absorbed the information. Do you know if the build for Street Fighter 6 at Evo was the same one that they have been using everywhere else?
I think my understanding was that it was an updated one.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure.
Okay, I'm just like intrigued because they showed off. I played that game at Summer Games Fest, and then they were like, "Hey, we're glad everyone thought this was cool. We're gonna go dark for a while." So I'm just like, my ears are perked for making sure, like, if there's a new version of that game, I want to try and figure out what it is and see what's new. I would love for them to have a new build of that, at TGS, either playable or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very likely too at this point. So because they built something, but I think the one, especially because the RE engine, they're very good at it. They could easily be implementing those updates into there without breaking stuff because they are just so adept at using that engine. That's my expectation there.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to show off new stuff at Tokyo Game Show with a new build.
And we don't expect anything Dragon's Dogma related, right? It's too early.
It's too. All they showed off at the announcement was T-shirts. It's too early.
Yeah.
So next year, next E3, probably we get some more info about that game, but not now, not yet.
Yeah, I would happily take just a picture of a dragon drawn by someone. It doesn't have to be anyone in the art department. It could be like the janitor in the Capcom thing. Like, here's a dragon.
Like it's like, here's a freaking dragon, and I'm talking to a cuff.
Yeah.
Iconic game developer Sunsoft is back from hiatus and ready to show off new games on August 18th, 2022. This comes from Darren Bontius at GameSpot. Veteran Japanese developer Sunsoft is making a comeback and has announced that it will be showing off new games being developed under its banner at an upcoming showcase on August 18th. The studio, which became famous for developing numerous cult classics through the 1980s and 90s, has largely been dormant since the release of Dark Eclipse for PSVR and Shanghai Refresh on Switch in 2018. Although we have been quiet for quite some time, many things have been happening behind the scenes, General Manager Yuichi Goji said. We are very excited to be able to finally share our vision for the rebirth of Sunsoft with fans old and new. Sunsoft, August 18th, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern, having a showcase. I guess I did not have that on my bingo card. I'm like kind of surprised that suddenly Sunsoft is like bursting back onto the scene.
I mean, I think it says a lot that when they said, "We're back," I was like,
you went
away?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Everyone's bringing up the NES Batman game, which is definitely the one I remember the most, is having that big Sunsoft logo on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm searching Sunsoft games.
Did they publish the Adventure Island games? Adventure Island, Sunsoft, was that right?
Did they do? Yeah, they did Spy Hunter,
I just
Final
binged it,
Fantasy
so
Legend.
I just binged it. So I searched Adventure Island Sunsoft, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to go to Universal Orlando Resort? What are you? Okay, Adventure Island is a water park in Florida. All right, well, thank you very much.
I don't like that you casually said binged it.
Well, I mean, listen, it automatically this Microsoft Edge browser binged it for me because I just put it into the bar up here, and I have to accept the fact that by doing that, I have binged. I've been binging. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you and pretend I Googled it.
Disgraceful.
Yeah, Hudson Soft was Adventure Island, so I'm like, oh yeah, Hudson Sunsoft. You could see my mistake being made there.
Yeah,
but maybe Batman's the only game I know from them. I don't know. They haven't been doing much in the last couple of years.
They did the Clock Tower series.
Okay, there you go. All right.
What else they got? That's pretty much it.
Right.
Clock Tower they got a couple Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy Legend, and then pretty much everything.
Right? They put out the Game Boy games. Weird.
Yeah, everything else is like Scooby Doo and other versions of the City Hunter. Well, that's about it.
We got the poll from yesterday. Let's get into that. If a game is fun, can you ignore other parts that you don't like? For example, voice acting or music. 87.1% said yes. 12.9% said no. And most people were like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like in a lot of games, even some of my favorite games, was the general response here. And I think that's probably right. How about you, Tam?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's some games I mean, like, the story's complete bollocks, and like, who cares about a bunch of things? But if like the core mechanics are fun, then you're like, yeah, I'll carry on playing this. I'm trying to think of a good example of one. I just cannot come up with one right now. Of a game that I thought was fun, even though everything around it is. I guess Earth Defense Force is like the perfect example of like that, right? Like, the core gameplay is fun. Everything around it is awful, and then
Right.
it just makes the whole experience feel quite novel.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it has character because of that. Like, yeah, I don't know, like a friend that is too loud and doesn't know that peanuts grow with the shells on them and stuff like that. It's like that sort of thing. We're like, it just adds to your character. All right,
Yeah.
exactly. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a poll for today. I could have swore I came up with one, and it's not. This is like a poll from like 3 weeks ago. So,
do how many Sunsoft games have you played? And then the options are 50 or 100.
You know what? It's Friday. Let's just do it. How many Sunsoft? I'm not even gonna remember this on Monday. I'm like, what were we even talking about? How many Sunsoft games have you played?
You should hold on. You could absolutely start some massive bullshit by doing Will Hollow Knight Silk Song beat at Gamescom.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's
yes,
and,
no.
and I could that'll make people think I know something. That's always how it works.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like Jeff Grubb, and then we need to take the #1 video game journalist crown back from Tim Geddes.
Yeah, right. The whole crew over there needs to be put down. I'll take them out. Silk Song be at Gamescom, and then the options are 50 and 100. No, let's see here. Yes, no, and we're going back on Monday with that. So there we go.
That's gonna be a spicy one. What do you know, Jeff? What do you know?
Yeah, and that's gonna be my entire weekend. Me just ignoring that one. Hell yeah. All right, where are we at here? Let's see. Tam, what do you got going on? What's happening with you? You got anything for Friday? You got any plans for the weekend? What's up with you?
I don't. I've got like a million things to do today, but also like it's Friday, and I try my best not to overexert myself on a Friday.
Yes, I hear you.
Even though it usually ends up going that way. Today is chicken wing day for me, so I'm gonna get chicken wings later.
I might jump on that bandwagon,
dude. Chicken wing day, man. Gonna watch some Sandwing.
Do you have any other days of the week that are associated with a food item? Do you do Taco Tuesday or anything like that?
No. Friday's on my cheat day, so
okay.
I allow myself to get chicken wings on that day. Otherwise, I have to eat. I try and eat as healthy as possible every day, and I'm not going to the gym today. I don't think either.
a healthy meal for you? I've been like thinking about this more. I'm like, man, this is difficult eating healthy.
So in the mornings I get up and I'll usually have I do intermittent fasting, so I usually won't eat up until about 12, 1, because
Yeah,
also
I
when
don't
I
eat
eat in
until
the
after this show because of that.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Also like the eating in the morning just makes me feel a bit weird.
Same. I don't
Um,
eat it.
yeah, and then I'll have toast with like peanut butter and some eggs, boiled eggs, just to get that
Yeah,
mixture of carbs and fats and
protein. Yeah.
protein. I usually chuck an avocado there, and then after that, or I'll have like just oats porridge, with some fruit, and nuts, and then a lunch is usually some sort of protein shake,
Okay.
and then
You're making it sound way easier than I was thinking. I'm like,
yeah, and
I
then
don't want to eat. I want
dinner.
to eat less processed food is what my big thing. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
everything is in my house right now. This sucks.
Yeah,
So
and then dinner is like I'll have like a big protein, like chicken, salmon, some
right.
sort of tofu, that kind of stuff, and then either I'll put that in with like sweet potatoes, or I'll have like quinoa or something like that, and then I try and remain at a caloric deficit when I'm yeah, and I'll do as much activity as I can, work out.
Well, Tim, thank you for that. It looks good on you. That's what I'll say.
Thank you.
Booty
I
is
appreciate
fly.
it.
The booty is very fly.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Today on Giant Bomb, Mortuary Assistant is coming up like right now, like right after this. Jan and Jess are going to get set up for that. So stick here. I will go offline for a couple minutes, but then Jan should just pop right back up. So just stick here on the channel. Keep watching. We have UPF today. The plan, I think, generally, like vaguely, is to play a bunch of like head-to-head games for the most part. We'll see. I don't know if everyone has Gigabash. Maybe I could just do that with like a remote play on Steam or something like that if that can work. But yeah, that's the general idea. But we'll have UPF. Stick around for that as well today, and then the weekend. Everyone just kind of take it easy. Don't overextend yourself. I'm going to a hot air balloon festival tomorrow though.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
The kids loved it when we went to the one in Albuquerque last year. There's one here in Ohio that's not quite as big, but still that they're 3 and 5. They're not going to know. They're going to see 2 balloons and be like, "Oh my god." So yeah, you get to pay to like go in the area where they're going to light up everything right at dusk. And so like all the balloons are inflating like right around you. It's good stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, you want to play snow runners on UPF? Yeah, we got plenty more snow runners coming for you, everybody. Look out for that. All right, we'll come back with the poll on Monday here on Giant Bomb. Until then, thank you so much, Tam. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Maxine Giswell.
Thank you so much, chat, and everybody watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, I'm Maxine Giswell. Have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.